love of reading with a lot of books. And, as I look back, one of the things, a common thread that ran through my books even then was a love of travel and other cultures. So I was reading books that were set. Does anyone remember? Um, oh, I remember Hans Brinker and the Silver Skates and the Happy Hollisters and all their adventures and Pippi Longstocking and all of these wonderful books that really had the ability to whisk me away wherever I wanted to go. And I didn't get my first passport until I think I was 21 or 22. So I had never traveled before then, just domestically. But I always say that books were my first passport because with books, no matter where you are, you have the ability to go wherever you choose in your mind. And so it's really no accident that many of my books take place in other countries or have characters who are traveling or perhaps characters who have immigrated from other countries. So I love those stories and I love the family stories. So one of my first grand adventures, travel adventures, was when I was in college, and I had the good fortune to go on a program called Semester at Sea. Has anyone heard about that? Yeah, I see some
My friend
nods and
did it.
hands.
Yeah.
Really?
Yes.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Oh, I just loved it. I just loved it. And what I really enjoyed, I enjoyed being on a ship. Enjoyed being on the sea. And that's a common theme, too, that you'll find in many of my books that are set by the ocean. I have some books that open on a ship or people are crossing on a ship. And so that often is a thread that runs through my book. And I live close to the ocean in Southern California as well. And I was also brought up in Texas. You may be hearing that accent bleeding through after all these years. I've still got it, right?
Very subtle.
But yeah, but I was originally from Austin, Texas, and we used to go to Galveston uh, along the coast, Galveston, Port Aransas, all of those beach communities, and I absolutely loved the energy of the beach. I just loved that power. I loved the thought that once you're on the ocean, you can cross that and end up in other lands and all the adventures and the mysteries and the history and all of that is just absolutely fascinating to me. And that's what I'm sure, I hope, comes out in many of my books that I write. So that's a little bit about my background, my history. And then that continued, my love of travel continued into adulthood as well. For a time, many writers, we follow a circuitous path to writing. So, although I began writing when I was in junior high school, I actually attempted to write my first novel in junior high school.
Wow.
It never went anywhere, of course, but that love of reading and then writing was there from childhood. I went on, I did some other things, uh, not quite trusting that I could actually make a living as a writer. And so I went on, uh, went to the University of Texas, got my degree in finance, went on to an MBA, had a company that I created a technology um, and translated that into five different languages. And that technology is in Sephora stores today. It's a touchscreen fragrance finder, Skin IQ, handheld devices. And so that endeavor also took me all over the world. So I was traveling regularly to places like Paris, Hong Kong, Toronto, New York, San Francisco, of course, quite a lot of time there. And it was just a really a wonderful time. But it was during that time and those long transatlantic or transpacific flights that I was taking that I began to write again. I could only watch so many movies, and those, and it was a long, those were long, long flights.
Sure.
So I began to pull out my old manuscripts, one that I had been working on for years and years, which was Scent of Triumph, and that was about a French perfumer
Mhm.
during World War II. So that one, St. Martin's Press published that, and then it was published all over the world in a number of different languages. But uh, that really started me on my journey. I sold the company to Sephora, and then I decided to start a different phase in my life and do something that I felt like I had always been meant to do. I just needed a little more experience to write about some things, and some people have remarked, some readers have remarked that I seem to have a great curiosity. I bring up a lot of different things in my books, and I don't think I could have written the same works when I was in my 20s or even 30s as I do today. So I hope that that curiosity, that love of travel, comes through in the books that I write.
It does. And The Chocolatier is the first of your books that I've written. But, as I've mentioned in our back and forth emails, since looking at your books, there's so many that I now want to read. And the Ascent of Triumph, did you see? I'm not sure if you did, but I had posted to the group. Did you see that we had read a book back in April called Meet Me in Monaco? Do you know that, by Heather Webb and Hazel Gaynor?
Yes, yes, I do. I haven't read it, but I'm familiar with it.
So
Yeah.
we experienced the south of France, and we had spoken with a perfumer many times, and so it was so nice to get a taste of that through that book, that now I think we're all going to have to read A Scent of Triumph as well. um, and so when you had mentioned, also I was wondering, you had mentioned when you started writing all these again and you were doing the technology for Sephora. What time period was this? Was this the last 10 years, 20 years ago?
Let's see, that company was sold in 2012, I believe.
Oh, wow.
And yeah, so it's really been the last 8 years that I've been dedicating full time to writing. So I sometimes say it took me 12 years to write my first book, and about 12 months to write my second one, and it's getting shorter all the time, except for historicals, which do take much more time to research and write. So those come out a little less frequently than some of my beach books. Mhm.
Sure. And which book of how many that, the total that you have right now, what the Chocolatier, is that the eighth, or how many are there now total?
Oh, I don't know. I think I might have about 12 to
Oh,
15.
wow.
I have some in the pipeline too, so I'm not
You're
sure the
quick.
exact.
Yeah, that's impressive.
Mm.
And you're mentioning historical fiction. You had given me a little bit of a preview about your next book. Now, the one we talked about on Lake Como, is that finished, or is that the one that you're currently still writing? That one's
Oh,
up.
that one, yeah, that one is, I completed that one a couple of months ago, and then I've just received the editorial suggestions back from my publisher in Germany. And so those will be, I'll be turning those around this month, and that will be published in January. So I'm really excited about that one as well.
So we'll discuss the Chocolatier, of course, in a minute. But do you want to give these guys a little, insight into that next book? Because I think you're all going to be very interested to hear about this one as well.
Oh, yes, yes. That one is called Hepburn's Necklace, a Lake Como affair. And Hepburn, people will say, well, which Hepburn? And this one is Audrey Hepburn, who I've always just adored. And I think that she was just a lovely woman inside and out. And I was always fascinated with the film. One of my go-to films was Roman Holiday. Who's seen Roman Holiday? I think most people, yeah, yeah.
Not yet.
And so it's really based on a woman, and this is actually my first lead character from Texas. So that was kind of fun, writing about where a character where I was born and raised. And so that was different. And I set her as a young actress. And so she's an extra on the film Roman Holiday in Rome. And it's about uh, her life as a young girl, the change, and I'm also fascinated with the decisions that people make when they're young and how that affects their lives when they're older. You know, we make so many decisions uh, when we're sometimes very young. Uh, Teenagers, young adults in our 20s, you know, who we marry, where we go to school, where we're going to live, what we're going to do as a profession. And we don't always get it right. So in my books, I like to deal with people who have perhaps made mistakes, how they rectify those mistakes, um, family members. You know, one reason I like to write historical fiction too is that we didn't have instant access. We didn't have cell phones. We didn't have computers. And I still have boxes of letters that my grandmother, my mother, my father wrote to each other. I have letters from the Great Hurricane of Galveston when my grandmother, as a teenager, was trapped in that. And I have letters between my parents when my father was in World War II. So this form of communication, of letter writing,
Mhm.
I think is a beautiful form of communication and often enters my books. So that communication or missed communications as well can really set the stage for a lifetime. And so that's what Hepburn's Necklace is about. Where does the title come from? Well, it comes from a necklace that Audrey Hepburn gave her. So I can give you that much. But it also has a much deeper and much more special meaning in the book. And it's a multi-generational and it's a dual timeline. So it deals with her niece, her great niece, and it opens with her great niece, of course, having some struggles and being a runaway bride. I'll give you that little tease.
Wow.
And then it starts from there. So we see Rome in the 1950s, and then we see Lake Como,
Lovely.
both in the 50s and in the present day. And that's just one of my favorite places on earth. What a beautiful, beautiful area.
Oh, I can't wait. So, a few more months, right? January, you said that will be out.
Yes, yes.
Wonderful.
January, I'll have some, perhaps some pre-reads available before then, probably in December.
Very exciting. So, this must be the most fun kind of research to do. When you talk about research for these books that take place in all of these interesting and beautiful locations. So, what kind of research did you do for the Chocolatier? You said you have spent time on the Amalfi Coast, right?
Yes, yes, I have. And so when I write a book, I often start with a location. Where do I want to be? And this is where I'm going to be in my mind too for quite a period of time. So I, I've got to enjoy it.
Right.
And and I do write feel good books. Um, I try to write books that when you read that last page that you feel a sense of satisfaction and pleasure in your heart. So those are the kind of books that I like to write. And this one started with the coastline of Amalfi, Positano, that whole area, which is just beautiful, beautiful. I have a good friend who is from Naples. And so he helped me with all of um, the Italian coffee as well. He said, no, 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 no. This kind of coffee comes from Naples. This is the kind. So
Right.
I had to get all those details right. And when I'm researching a book, that's something that I love to do too, is to really delve into it deeply. So for the Chocolatier,
Mhm.
I, I from the love of Italy to the love of chocolate, I met first of all with a chef, Chef Michael, a chocolate chef, chocolatier, who is in Carlsbad, California, San Diego area. And at the time, I was living in Carlsbad, so that was he was uh, just a mile away from me, really. And I went over to his factory where they were making the chocolate, and spent quite a lot of time with him learning how chocolate is made, um, and just learning about the different flavor profiles, learning about his history as well, because his family was from Venezuela. And they were several generations of cacao farmers in Venezuela, where some of the most magnificent cocoa beans are grown. However, because of the political turmoil, his family came to San Diego, say, not recently, it's been a while, but he and his brother had gone to San Diego, the University in San Diego, and began Chuao chocolate. So he was one of my very first uh, chocolatiers that I spoke with, and quite in length. And I can really recommend the spicy Mayan chocolate. I think that's one of my favorites. But he comes up with some really wild flavor profiles: potato chips and chocolates, pretzels, a lot of spicy chocolates, just magnificent. So I had a great deal of fun with him.
So did
Next, yes.
I was just going to ask, is he where you got many of the ideas for the chocolate flavors mentioned in the book? The combinations and, the chocolates infused with the tea. Erin in our group, she makes tea, so she was particularly interested in those.
Oh, yes, yes. I don't recall exactly where the tea idea came from offhand. I
Mhm.
take a lot of notes and a lot of
Yeah.
detail. Uh, but I also spoke with Valrona in San Francisco, the chocolate uh, makers out of France. And so they were fabulous as well, sharing a lot of information, sharing a lot of recipes. They invited me to San Francisco, where they were having an event for chocolate chefs. And so I attended that, and they had three Peruvian cacao farmers there. So they had the cacao pods. They had it was a magnificent presentation. I was able to sit down and talk with the farmers, ask about where they were from, what it was like, what the challenges were, and so Peru is one of the few places I've ever written about that I haven't traveled to. I think almost every other country in my book, if I'm talking about it, I've been there. Uh, but Peru was one that I had not been. I did have a very good friend in college who was from Peru, and so I felt a special affinity. It has been on my travel bucket list for years, and I thought I was getting very close to going. I had to cancel a trip while I was actually doing the research on this book. But that happens. So I was able to write about it based on the information that these farmers shared with me, and that was so special. It was such an amazing opportunity. And then from there, Ghirardelli also was very helpful in San Francisco.
Mhm.
Uh, and I researched a lot of Italian chocolate makers, chocolatiers, and the process of incorporating hazelnuts into the chocolate.
Oh, I love
That
that.
history, hmm yeah, that history as well. So,
Wow. So it was those farmers that gave you, because you had so much information about when they were in the Andes. It was then
mhm.
that they had all the details and about the white cacao, the beans. Wow, that
Le
must have
Grand Blanc.
required a lot of research for
Yes,
sure.
yes. Yeah, Le Grand Blanc. And that was a true story, that particular variety had gone extinct. And so I did, and in fact, in the notes in the book, I did take a little bit of literary license to fit the story,
Okay.
but that variety had gone extinct. And there's some discussion as to whether it really did or whether the locals knew it was there. It was being grown at a different elevation, a much higher elevation than what it had been found previously. So some people are saying, well, the locals kept the good stuff for themselves,
Right.
and why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you?
Sure.
So, but it is now back in circulation, and Valrhona is they're handling that. So,
Wow. And so the whole concept of the chocolatier, what was it that, inspired you to go in that direction? Was it seeing some of these chocolate shops before that you'd been in touch with them that, gave you the idea? Or that's such a fun, it's such a fun profession to explore in your book.
mm. Well, I do enjoy uh, delving into interesting industries, ones
Hmm.
that I find interesting anyway.
Yeah.
And so I had, and also my first book, Scent of Triumph, dealt with perfumers, and of course they're growing things, of the earth. These are
Hmm.
products, nature's gifts to us. So from the flowers and other essential oils drawn from nature in perfumery for Scent of
Hmm.
Triumph, and then the next one I wrote was the winemakers. And the winemakers is set in Napa Valley in the 1950s,
I'm going to read
and
that.
also also deals with an American or French-Italian family from Europe and settling in Napa Valley. So in that one as well, I went to Napa. I have a friend who I went to school with, and she was president of one of the large wineries there, and now she has her own Moon Chai. But she opened up the oh my goodness, she opened up the doors to Napa in a way that uh, I was so indebted, so grateful to her, because instead of just taking the regular tours,
Mhm.
uh, I was able to go in and sit down and talk with the winemakers, go through the back rooms, walk into the fields. I was there during harvest, so I was able to witness that. And I spent about a week just delving into it. And then, of course, talking with her later and saying, now, what about this? And what about that? And I wanted to make sure that I got all the details right to the
Mhm.
best of my ability. There might be errors, but those are all, I take responsibility for those.
That's so much
Um,
fun too.
oh, it's a great deal of
Wine,
fun. So,
chocolate.
so to me, chocolate was just a natural extension of that.
Mhm.
It was another gift of the earth that we take and we uh, make something highly creative, a luxury product to many, and that we elevate and use, whether it's a sweet chocolate or whether it's used in other recipe dishes.
Mhm.
It's just it's been valued for centuries, and I thought, what fun to delve into that. So that's my trilogy of earthly gifts, I
I
guess.
love it.
Perfume, wine, and chocolate.
And it's funny because, I mentioned in April we read the book about perfume. So, in speaking with her name's Nicole from a perfumery there, she'd mentioned, the different profiles, the scent profiles. And then last month we read a book that took place in the Cotswolds, and we spoke with a gin distiller. So we're discussing, the different flavor profiles of the gin, and now with the chocolate. It's funny. You're absolutely right. They all tie in so nicely, and it's a lot of fun.
It is, and so those flavor profiles are what are, that's the creative mark
Yeah,
of the chef or the winemaker, distiller, perfumer, and that's the mark of creativity that I just love.
yeah.
Yeah.
And now in your next book, will there be any culinary element tied in? Or I'm sure being on Lake Como, they will, of course, be discussing some different meals or drinks. But is there any emphasis on that as well?
Yes, there is, and so I do a lot of research uh, into the dishes that are the traditional dishes
Hmm.
of the region whenever I write. And so you will find quite a lot of that
Oh,
in
good.
Hepburn's Necklace. Uh, so I love to write to really get the details right about what they're eating,
Hmm.
uh, the the fauna and flora around them.
Hmm.
Uh, I I'm an avid gardener too, and so I love to include that. And so yes, you will find a lot of those details
Oh, that's
as well
great.
as.
You're just, oh, go ahead.
Oh, go on.
No, I was just going to say your descriptions of the family dinners, in Amalfi late at night and the grappa. And, I've been to Italy and, I found them to be spot on. The late nights that just kept going with the talking and the drinks. My father hosts dinners like that here now. So here in the States. But that was really nice. And the lemon groves, I've since spoken with someone who on YouTube, her name is Nikki. She does all these different videos in Positano, and she went to Amalfi and did a tour of the lemon groves. So it was nice to read your version of, experiences there as well.
Thank you, thank you. I love those long Italian dinners. It just
Yeah.
they're wonderful. My friend Luca Della Valle, and he's lives in Los Angeles. He's an actor
Right.
as well as a realtor,
Oh, of
and
course.
and he is just a great friend. And it really takes a team to put together a book.
Mhm.
We're although we're writing in solo. What I find is that the people that I reach out to that help me with information and getting all the details right, like Luca or Chef Michael or the farmers from Peru. These are the people who really color the book and really influence the book. I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it without the research.
Hmm.
So
Well, it's so important and it adds such a nice element to the story, and especially for a group of us who is so big into travel and cuisine. So, it's a nice tour that you're able to take us on, after doing all of this research. So it's perfect.
well, thank you. I'm really glad
Oh, of
you're enjoying
course.
it.
No, thank
Yeah.
you. And so about the characters now, actually, one thing I was wondering with the twist, with the Tony Antonio twist, was that an idea that you had from the start, or was that something, I know you hear a lot of writers mention that once you're in the story, you're writing it, ideas just pop up or they may change. But I loved the twist. I loved that Doc was, the character that was surprising to me. So I always like when I'm surprised in stories. But so where did that come? Was that something you knew you were going to do from the beginning, or did it just kind of naturally pop up in your head as you went along?
Mm. Uh, yes. I know writers, we refer to ourselves as pantsers, meaning we write by the seat of our pants, or plotters, meaning that we plot out everything in detail. And I fall somewhere in the middle. I usually know where the story is going and how it's going to end.
Hmm.
And I have some of what I call the tent pole scenes that I know I'm going to include, but I don't do a detailed outline because it usually changes, and I find that I come up with better ideas as I'm writing.
Hmm.
And I'm in the tub and I go, oh, that would be great, and I'll jump out and write it down. So where did that switch come? That was from the beginning.
It was.
From the beginning, I knew that she was going to marry a man who uh, who had a past that she didn't know anything about. And I've known people who've actually come to this country who had a past
Uh-huh.
in the old country and they left that behind. Easier to do. It was easier to do years ago than it is today because now Facebook profiles follow us everywhere. But
Right.
back then, people could remake themselves, and many times when they came here, even their names were remade.
Hmm.
The immigration officials couldn't understand them, so they wrote down whatever. And so many people, and this was a wonderful opportunity to remake themselves as well and to contribute to the growth of our country.
Hmm.
So I'm fascinated with that. and why people would do that as well. So it was sort of his version of a witness protection program, you
Right.
know. But yeah,
Self-made. Right.
yeah.
And so at the end, what in your mind, what had actually happened to Tony in the States? You know, he went out, he got that phone call. Was
Mhm.
it the guys from New York that did they get him eventually? Was that part of it, or
Yes, yes, that's what it was. And I didn't go into that in great
right?
detail because I wanted to leave a little bit of the mystery
Hmm.
because we're looking at it through that character's eyes.
Yes,
And she didn't know, and she would never know the full extent of what happened. We only get that information in flashback
hmm,
um, with Tony. So yes, he had gotten a phone call that night, New Year's Eve, and they had caught up with him. The bad guys from New York had come
right,
up with him, and so they wanted to press him back into service in San Francisco. So he had gone out. Now there on the bridge, the I think the official cause of death was heart attack.
right,
So he was under stress. You can just imagine his entire world is about to be blown apart. He's hidden his past. He's tried to outrun people. His life is in danger, not only his life, but also his wife and his child. And his wife knows nothing about this.
right,
And so he was trying to protect the innocent. And so um, I wanted him to, he made some calculated decisions, uh, but he was still a good person at heart. And so he was trying to leave that past behind. And so that's how I handled his demise. So we never really knew if they got him, but he was lured out by them, which put them in that situation. And then, um, the dominoes fell as they do.
right. And I loved that, this book being, a romance was also for me very much, it was very suspenseful. So it wasn't just, often when you read romances, you want to see, are they going to end up together? Are they not? There was that, of course, with Laurel, but
Mhm.
also this mystery aspect. So it was nice that it combined the two really well.
Thank you, thank you. I have written some. My Love California series has a little more of the romance,
Hmm.
pure romance angle, but I really enjoy writing about the woman's journey. And so that journey may have a love interest in it, oftentimes,
Hmm.
but the central thrust of the story is their journey, is the woman's journey, and the decisions she makes, right or wrong, and how she gets out of those and tries to put her life back together again. I like to write about characters that have resilience,
Hmm.
and so that, but also I love to have a little mystery and little, I say, a little history and a little mystery
Yeah,
uh,
yeah.
in them as well. Mhm.
No, that
It's
that was
what I enjoy reading. It's what I enjoy writing.
that's perfect. And so, of the other books, now you have A Scent of Triumph that takes place. It's a transatlantic trip as well, right? But also Paris, is it?
Yes, yes, it is. It opens on a ship at the dawn of World War II, September 1939, and so that one takes place between Europe, Paris, Poland, the south of France, and then into Los Angeles. And so I enjoyed writing. But that one was complicated in having to follow the troop movements, in recreating that Los Angeles of that period of time,
Hmm.
and looking at the history, what was going on both sides of the Atlantic. So that was a complicated book, and that one is actually, I was able to. That one is available in audio right now. The Winemakers and Scent of Triumph are available in audio. Uh, starting in the fall, I was able to get the rights back for those. And so starting in the fall, I'm republishing those under my imprint. St. Martin's Press had published them in the US. And so I was able to bring those back. They're going through a cover redesign right now because they have to.
I love the
And
cover of the Chocolatier. That's what initially caught my eye. That's how we ended up where we are. I saw the cover and I just loved it.
thank you. Thank you. That was designed by a designer in Germany. So,
Wow,
yeah, she did a really beautiful job. And I was able to use that same cover for the publication here in the US. So,
nice.
yeah, so Scent of Triumph and the Winemakers will be back in ebooks, paperback, and hardcover starting in September. Scent of Triumph in September, also under the name of The Perfumer, its original name. And then, no, I'm sorry, The Winemakers first, and then Scent of Triumph in November.
Perfect. And then Hepburn's Necklace, January.
Right.
Nice. So your books are so perfect for our group because, they have the different destinations and, like we talked about the different culinary aspects. So it's really fun. Someone asked, Jan, how do you pronounce, and I'm gonna do my version, Lauro, is that how you say Lauro in Italian,
Yes.
and Cellina?
Lauro and Cellina in Italy. Because she was born and brought up in America, we opted to use her name as Selena, which is the American version of it. But in Italy, she would be called Cellina. We had, and Lauro, I just I love that
It's a
name.
nice name.
It just trips off the lips. And so, yes, so in working with my narrator, did anyone listen to it on audiobook? What?
Eleni?
Yeah. And so I work with Erin Bennett on the audio, and she's just one of the top audiobook narrators. She narrates for Ellen Hildebrand, Debbie Macomber. She's done so many, won tons of awards for her work. And she lives in Los Angeles too. And I was really fortunate to be able to connect with her for all of the audiobooks. And she has, I think this is, let's see, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. This is her 12th audiobook for
Oh,
me.
wow.
Yeah. And she is going to be narrating. I'm on her calendar for her to narrate the Coral Cottage series as well as Hepburn's Necklace. So I'm thrilled about that. But we go back and forth on how do we pronounce the character names. And so we typically opt for how they're going to be pronounced in the country where they're spending the most time. So, yeah.
So is that what she says? She says Lauro and Cellina, or no, she went with Selena for the American audiobook version.
Yes.
Nina
Yes.
in
Oh, yeah, right. You heard it too. Cool. I don't listen to audiobooks enough. Sometimes I find that, if I'm exercising, I'll try to, but then, I've got 2 little kids. One of them will need something and then I get distracted. So that's something I want to do more of because I know it can enhance the experience, especially if the narrator is so great. So, oh,
Yes,
and
it's really
Crystal,
wonderful.
Crystal said that you, Jan, have such a soothing voice. Would you ever read your own book for an audio?
A lot of people have asked, and I don't know that I would. One, I'm not that good with accents, and that's something that Erin is just a master of.
Oh, really?
She's so good with that, which is what attracted me to her the first time I heard her speak. I thought she can do this. And so I'm not very good with accents. And also, she's really an actress. And she's not just a narrator, but she's a trained actress. And there is such a difference when you're listening to someone who really has that background and that training. And so I trust it to the professionals.
Sure. But no, you do. You have a very nice, soothing voice. So I'm sure it would be easy to focus. Maybe someday when you do a memoir, you
Perhaps. I hope that's a long time from now.
uh, that's great. So as far as the chocolate aspect, did you or have you have you given it a shot making your own, or was that something that you got to do in the shops of the chocolatiers that you'd visited for the research?
Yes, yes to both. So I have made my own. I do enjoy puttering around in the kitchen. It's funny, when I was younger, I hated cooking, except for baking. I loved baking because my grandmother taught me how to bake. And so we would bake breads and cookies and cakes and pies and all
Yeah.
sorts of things. So, but yes, yes, I do. And I wanted to include a recipe, an easier recipe in the back of the book. So has anyone tried that? A few people have.
I haven't yet. Anyone here has? I can't see everyone.
Anyone for chocolate truffles?
Well, we have to do that. That'll be a project. Maybe we'll make it a homework assignment for the group. We'll all have to get the recipe and then we'll compare notes. Maybe we can all, you know, take our hand at infusing them with different flavors as well.
Go. There you go. Yeah, right before we all got locked down, I I visited a book club where they had made different chocolates and brought in different things, and it was a chocolate and wine tasting, and we had so much fun. So it was really enjoyable. So yes, chocolate making is a great quarantine activity.
Chocolate making, chocolate eating. We should
Mhm.
definitely do that.
Yeah.
Erin's been trying to put us in touch with a chocolatier friend of hers, so maybe that's something we could incorporate. And Jan, you're welcome to join us for that as well.
Ooh la la, that sounds wonderful.
Yeah. So, does anyone else have any other questions
Mm.
for Jan? You can write in the comments right here. I'm trying to see. Connie Burton says, "Thank you for including the recipe. It was a great surprise. I look forward to making the truffles." Anyone else, if you want to show a hand, if you have a question for Jan? I know people previously were just so interested in how you did the research for this book. You know, the location is so glamorous itself, and um, Anne has asked, Jan, we'll look out for those. Thank you. How long does it typically take you to write a book?
Good question. My historicals generally do take about a year to write. And because there is more research, I want to get the details right.
Mhm.
Many times I'm dealing with an industry now that I might love the industry, but I really need to learn a lot more about it. So the research is very important to me. It's an important aspect. When I read books, I love to learn something. And to me, that's a bonus. Uh, so I like to deliver that too in my work. As far as my beach series, I also write some contemporary beach series. The Sea Breeze Inn, most recently, has come out last year. And then I have another one coming out called The Coral Cottage in July, just next month, 30 days from now.
Oh, and they're
And
all California, the California beaches?
yes,
Fun.
yes, Southern California. And those are the only ones that are really domestically based,
Okay.
my beach books. And those were fun, but there's also some history and mystery in those as well. So you'll find some references to the World War II era, some secrets that have been kept on the Southern California coast,
Wow.
and it has to do with some art. I'll let you know that. That's all though.
Wonderful.
Um, and so those will usually go a little bit faster, but I'm usually writing ahead.
Oh, they sound perfect. You know, in our book group, we do one book a month, but for many, that leaves time for at least a couple more books per month. So, especially in the summer, it would be really nice to read those. And which is the first? And are they a series? Do they go in sequential order? The Sea Breeze Inn series?
Yes, yes, and those are not standalone books. It is a trilogy,
Okay.
so it's a story that is told over three books. This is the only book I have with me right now. This is called the Sea Breeze Inn, which is the
Nice.
first one. I'm not at my home. I'm staying with a friend in Los Angeles right now because I just had to get away and focus on finishing a book right now. I have the Chocolatier edits that I'm finishing, and I really needed to focus. For wonderful granddaughter I love to death. Hi, Zoe, if you're watching this.
Oh,
Um,
nice.
so, and I love to spend time with her, but sometimes I do have to focus as well. But yes, the Sea Breeze Inn starts with the Sea Breeze Inn. The Sea Breeze Summer is number two, and the
Okay.
Sea Breeze Sunset is number three.
And
So the Coral Cottage picks up in Summer Beach with some of the same residents, but with a new protagonist, a new main character. And some people have said, "Where is Summer Beach? I've been Googling it. I can't
yeah.
find it." And again, I used literary
Mhm.
license to that and created a beach. There so many beaches I love in Southern California, from La Jolla, Carlsbad, Moonlight Beach, um, just Del Mar, all of these lovely areas. And so I couldn't decide really
Mhm.
where I wanted to set it. I looked at Catalina Island. And finally I said, I'm just going to do a mashup. I'm going to create a community. So as some other authors have done, Robin Carr, with the Virgin River series, it's in that vein. It's
Okay.
women's fiction with some light romance as well, but really focused on the woman's journey. Her and her sister.
That sounds great.
Crazy.
I mean, even being domestic, what a beautiful part of the world. All of California, really, but those beaches that you just mentioned, especially, really, really nice. And you mentioned art. Was there any influence from Laguna? I know Laguna has a nice little artsy section to it.
Yes, yes, it's beautiful. The trying to think of the what is it? The gallery. Do you know what I'm talking about? Where they stage the works of art every
Laguna
summer?
Beach.
Yes, in Laguna. The name escapes me. If someone can Google that, that would be fun.
Um,
I've been to that years and years ago. Another one of my favorite communities,
Barbara
and
said pageant of the masters.
that's it.
Thanks,
That's it.
Barbara.
Amazing, amazing. If you ever have the chance to see that, truly, truly another work of art. But yes, I do talk about these. I talk more about historical works of art. So I'll just leave it there,
Okay.
and because I don't want to spoil
No,
anything.
no, of course. You've given us nice little, snippets, just enough. Now I want to read them all, so that's perfect.
Mhm.
And Karen wanted to ask, are the flavors that you talk about in the chocolatier typical for the time period? Did you find that anyone was doing those types of flavor combos at that time?
Uh, yes, is the answer. They were, but at that time, chocolate was very much an artisan. The the luxury chocolates were very much still in the artisan sphere at that
Mhm.
time. So people were infusing chocolates, they were using different flavor profiles, and many of that depended on the area where they were
Mhm.
and what they had access to. So whatever grew in the area is what they were using. And of course, in that time is when some of the large chocolate manufacturers with the industrial age began to mass produce chocolate, the Hershey's and Cadbury.
Mhm.
So they would not have had them at that time, at least not to my knowledge. Um, but many of the artisan chocolates, I did find many instances where they were using uh, some of the ingredients local to them. And in Amalfi, lemons were used and still are today used in so many recipes and foods. Mhm.
Yeah, that was one that I don't know that I've ever had, a lemon chocolate. I've had, the Sicilian oranges dipped in the dark chocolate. That's delicious. But an actual chocolate truffle with lemon, I have not had yet. And this book made me, it put it on my radar. I'm going to have to either find them or make them because they sound really nice. And I think many of us reading this book were on such a lemon kick because of, the Amalfi experience. So what a fun combination that must be. It must be really nice. Have you tried the chocolates now that you described, or were not all of them, actually available?
No, I've tried. I've tried them. Yes, the raspberry chocolates definitely. And then trying to remember which ones I included because I wrote about so many. The tea flavored. Yes, actually, yes. In San Francisco. So there's a wonderful farmers market at the Ferry Building, and you'll find a lot of unusual things there. So yes, I did have them there. It was a little now. Now I'm remembering. It's coming back. Yes, it was a little chocolate shop, and they supplied to some of the restaurants uh, in San Francisco. But yes, yes.
Nice.
Fascinating. There's so many different ones. And I noticed that you're giving something away too from David. Is it David Bracco or Bracco in San
David
Diego?
Bacco, yes, you mentioned the chocolatier, in San Diego. Do you know David's shop or not yet?
Yes, yes, I'm familiar with it.
Okay. Really, really nice. My father, he gave me some for Father's Day, for Mother's Day this year, and I was just so impressed. They were so delicious. So, David, yes, that's one of the giveaway prizes, which we can actually get into if that works for everyone. I've got a bowl of names I can draw, and yes, so you should, Jan, if you're in San Diego, you could maybe check out the shop in person because I haven't been to it, but they're really, really good and, very rich. And you can tell it's really like great quality ingredients in them. So,
Um,
yeah. All right. So, is that okay? Jan, was there anything else that you would like to share before we get into the giveaway? Thank you so much. Everything so far has been so interesting and, so nice to hear it from you.
oh, well, thank you. It's been so much fun talking to you and answering questions. And I hope everyone had some great chocolate while they were reading. I usually have quite a bit when I'm writing. I've got some Dove chocolate here.
Right.
That's my mint chocolate, what I just adore. I've got some skinny dipped almonds here. Look, I'm showing you my stash.
Ooh,
Chocolate almond, dark chocolate raspberry. You see,
that's
I walk the talk.
that's perfect. Oh my goodness. I love the lint truffle. As far as,
Oh my goodness.
mass produced chocolates, I love the lint ones, but the little chocolate shops and, all the chocolates described in their book, those are a little harder to get your hands on, but when you do, they're so good.
Yeah. Spicy Mayan. Oh, love that.
Yes.
Especially the chocolate. Try that in the wintertime.
Try which? I'm sorry.
Anyway,
Which one?
the spicy Mayan hot
Spicy.
chocolate
Okay.
from Chirao. I just love that. Love that. Valrona had also sent me some wonderful packages too as a thank you. But it has been my pleasure. I'll let you get on with the drawing now, Juliana.
Oh,
But thank you so much.
thank-
And I hope that someday we're all able to get on a plane or a ship again and go back to Italy and enjoy it. And in the meantime, I will keep writing. And my next journey is to Italy as well in the pages of Hepburn's Necklace. Um,
we're
and
coming with you.
Oh, I hope so.
Yeah.
I would love to go on a trip together. That would be so much fun. And so I'll keep writing. I'll be back at the beach next month. And just thank you so much for reading The Chocolatier. And I'm so glad that everyone enjoyed it. It was
Oh,
really a lot of fun.
loved it. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. And yes, so Lake Como, again, like I said, we'd love to have you back when we can read and discuss that one in 2021.
Great, great. More surprises on the way in that one, too.
Oh, good. Good, good, good. Can't wait. Well, thank you so much, Jan. So I'm going to now go through today I have a nice trusty porcelain bowl full of names. So hang on, I'm just going to see because I know that this is on Facebook Live as well. I just want to make sure that all of the winners are able to see and comment that they're here and that they know that they've won. All right, so give me 1 second, please. Okay, so I'm gonna go for prize number 1 now for all of the chefs in our group. We've got the cookbook, 1 second, the Silver Spoon Naples and the Amalfi Coast cookbook. Can you guys see me okay? I know I'm awkwardly standing. Okay, so the Naples and the Amalfi Coast cookbook is the first prize. I'm gonna do this now, can't see. And this goes to Jill Fontenot. Jill, are you here? Jill lives down the street. Now this will just be the tricky part to see who's here and who's on Facebook Live. Jill, you're here? Oh, don't hear it, hang on. She might be on Facebook Live, but I'll get that sorted later. So let's go to the next one. Congratulations, Jill. Now, the second, you guys have seen Divya. She's in our group. She's a beautiful watercolorist, and she did a beautiful painting, a setting that is in Amalfi. Jane, I don't know if you saw it, but Divya is also in California. She's outside of San Francisco, but she does really nice watercolors. So this is for a print of her Amalfi creation. So hang on. This goes to Karen Phillips. Karen, are you here? Congratulations, Karen.
Hello, yes, hi, I'm here.
Hi, Karen, congratulations.
Thank you.
You
Hope
get
you're
a
okay
beautiful-
posting it.
Oh, you're very welcome. And you get a beautiful painting by Divya. I
Oh,
actually,
that's brilliant. It's great. Thank you.
yeah, oh, I'm glad. I actually got one of hers as well. It's a Greece setting, and I'm waiting for the frame to come in so I can put it up. But she's really talented, and they're really beautiful.
No, I saw it on the post. It's great. That's brilliant. Thank you.
Oh, I'm happy for you. Congratulations.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, so this now, okay, did you guys see the ceramics, the Italian ceramic, the tile? It's got the Amalfi scene, you've got the nice little lemon, you see the water in the background. It's a beautiful ceramic tile. You can either hang it up or, you know, wherever you'd like to display it. So that's the next prize. This goes to Anne, don't mind me if I butcher this. Anne Kiselwisky. Sorry, don't mind me. But Anne, you have won the tile from Amalfi. Anne, are you here? You can unmute yourself if you are. No, okay. Again, people might be on Facebook Live, and I haven't mastered how to kind of do the Zoom and the Facebook Live simultaneously, so I'm gonna have to go and look at the comments later and see who was there. But, okay, thank you. Congratulations, Anne. And now one winner is going to receive an early summer chocolate set from David Bacco out in San Diego, David Bacco Chocolatier. So let's do this. Marissa Altieri. Marissa, you are a big winner. You won something last month. Are you here? Marissa, congratulations.
I am here. I don't know that I can win that again, but I would like to.
Oh, no. Hey, you're a very lucky lady. Congratulations. Now you can take your chocolate with you when you go to the Cotswolds Hotel there.
Well, I've never won anything in the rest of my life, so if that makes anyone feel better.
Making up for lost time, apparently. That's great. Well, congratulations.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
No, you're very welcome. Congratulations. The chocolate's delicious. You will be impressed. Now, the trick is everyone has to post, you know, when you get the cookbook, when you get the painting, when you get the chocolates, you have to post it all so we can all see. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, these are the new, have you guys seen the new travel teas? I'm sure you have. The Travel, Eat, Read, Repeat. Those that we just, now they're a thing. So thank you guys for all the insight you guys have, you know, given me to get them to that point. So this is one of those teas in your, I was going to say in your flavor, in your color and size of choice. So this is for one of those. Hang on. This goes to Eleni Locke. I know you're here. Congratulations.
Thanks.
You're welcome. So you can go on the website and pick out whichever one you want and let me know.
Awesome. Thank you.
You're welcome. All right, and now 3 winners. This is for the July book, which I haven't announced yet, but I will very soon, and I'll let you winners know in a private message early. You can get the inside scoop. So let me get 3 names. I'll do one at a time. Irene Mendonza. Again, sorry for anyone whose name I'm messing up. Irene, are you here? Irene, okay, hang on. Got Irene. Alice Chambers. Alice Chambers. No, okay. And Ariana Bennett. Ariana here? No.
Yeah, I'm here.
Yay! Hi, Ari. Congratulations.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So you'll get the book. You will enjoy that very much. Another nice location. And thank you guys all so much. That's it for the giveaways. But thank you, Jan, most of all, for joining us. Thank you, everybody else. And it's been really fun. And can't wait to actually get to the Amalfi Coast in real life.
Thank you so much for having me. It was so much fun. And I hope to see you again in Hepburn's Necklace.
Absolutely.
So,
we'll see you on Lake Como.
That's right.
I can't think of a better place to meet. So but thank you all. Okay, well, everyone enjoy the rest of your Sunday, and we'll be in touch.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Bye. Thank you.